Hi, I'm Anna Michelle, and my research proposal is entitled Towards Zero Waste, a study of Singapore's development communication initiatives on waste. This study was actually brought about by this poster. I started seeing this back in January, around the same time we're about to choose a topic for this research proposal. And towards the entire journey of our Master's in Development Communication, I have always touched on many different aspects of the environment. So in one of the reports that I made, I talked about, the waste issue here, that this 810 million kilograms of waste, which they have produced in 2017, it equates to about 2 cups per person per day. So that's how much it is. And so as a parent, I wouldn't want to encourage my children to be wasteful in that sense. And so it's quite timely that this poster came out, and I'd like to call it serendipitous because as I looked up on the Towards Zero Waste, I found out that 2019 is the year towards zero waste. So Singapore's just launched this program. So I find it exciting that I'd be able or have the opportunity to use this initiative for my research. Now, zeroing in on the environment, it's for me summed up by this statement. The difference is if you are environmentally conscious, you will be environmentally conscious everywhere. And being guests here, I'd like to inculcate that kind of thinking into not just with me and my husband, but also to our kids. Singapore is pretty much one of the best cities in the world. Actually, in 2018, it has bagged the following titles. It's the best city for expatriates. It's the best Asia-Pacific city for millennials in terms of quality of life, cost of living, and employment prospects, and Asia's most livable city. However, that said, there is a growing problem on waste. I would say it's partly caused by convenience. Convenience because each unit's, particularly condominiums, it's equipped with its own rubbish chute. So, you bag your trash, you just throw it in the chute and then you forget about it. And they get collected regularly, every day. So, yeah, you tend to forget about the rubbish that you consume or you dispose of. Because, they have a system and their system works. However, the waste issue has been highlighted by a recent Reuters article. It said that the phase 1 of the Semacao landfill, which was, they would assume, or based on the forecast when it was constructed, it would be decommissioned by 2035. However, because of the waste disposal habits of the residents here, it could be decommissioned earlier, 10 years ahead of the schedule. And this landfill, if you look it up, it's a multi-million-dollar one, and I think it's also multi-awarded because they were able to protect the marine biodiversity outside of the landfill. And they brought in experts. It took them hours and hours of research and study and whatever for this one in order for it to be constructed. Because prior to having this, I think part of their waste has got to be exported elsewhere. Hence, they came up with this initiative, and they have designated 2019 as the year towards zero waste. As far as my study is concerned, I'd like to look at it three things. Study the program, and then whatever findings I get there, if it could contribute to the ASEAN body of knowledge, and also look at the ways in which Singapore is using development communication in order to communicate to their residents. The research problem then is, as Singapore works towards zero waste, what are the development communication initiatives employed, and how effective are these in informing, educating, and communicating to its residents? So, the objectives of this study is to identify and discuss the various developmental or the various development communication initiatives in line with Towards Zero Waste, as spearheaded by the NEA, or the National Environment Agency, and its partners, analyze the materials, establish the take-up rate of residents, or how effective this initiative is in terms of the resident level, and of course identify the best practices that can be shared and adopted within the ASEAN. Well, this study is important because firstly, it's going to be conducted as they launch the program, and then secondly, I'd like to look at it from the bottom-up perspective as an ordinary citizen, and see whether the suggestions or what they want people to do would be effective and feasible on a practical level, and then all these to contribute to the ASEAN body of knowledge, which would hopefully be adopted by the other ASEAN cities as well. In the course of my research on this study, I have used these two literatures. First of which is the Singapore Chronicles on the Environment. It's published by the Institute of Policy Studies. It talks about Singapore's journey from being a third world slum into the first class city, clean and green city that we know of it now. And it was made possible by three strategic plans that they have made, starting from the concept plan in 1971, the Singapore Green Plan in 1992, and the Sustainable Singapore Blueprint in 2009. It also talked about the crucial role environmental education played in making Singapore a clean and green city, as well as community-based initiatives which help drive message across all sectors of society. Next one, the study by Harvey Neo. This one basically details the early beginning of the National Recycling Program, the issues it has encountered, and some of its recommendations in order to ensure the success of the program. What this study pointed out is that while technical planning is important, it does not ensure the success of a program. The top-down initiative has got to be matched by a bottom-up action to support the project. And there are two key things that will help drive it forward: education and promotion. So, for my theoretical framework, I used system theory, which was developed by Hegel, to explain historical development as a dynamic process. According to this theory, systems theory focuses on three levels of observation: the environment, the social organization as a system, and human participants. And that these interactions are meant to be studied and observed in the context of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. What's also good about this system theory is how it underscores the important role of communication, its transformative power, how it brings about evolution and transformation in organizations or in societies as a whole. Conceptually, I'm going to borrow the diagram of Little John. So E would be the environment, which is Singapore. I would be input as it pertains to information, education, and communication. Then T would be transformation, the knowledge and attitude change brought about by the input. Output would be the actual practice or the expected favorable change in the behavior. Feedback would be community-led or grassroots initiatives in support of the IEC and the government initiatives in line with the Zero Waste program. Now, as we study this Zero Waste Development Communication Initiatives of Singapore, it has to be viewed in the context of the system, the government and its top-down initiatives, the IEC, Information, Education, and Communication, the people and their attitudes, which are brought about by the environment, and how these actions are brought back into the loop in order to improve or make better the top-down initiatives. Now, in conducting this study, I would be focusing on these 4 things: a cross-sectional survey, content analysis, participant observation, and research. The cross-sectional survey I would want to conduct to secondary and primary school students while I have access to them, firstly. And secondly, I find them transparent and reflective of the actual scenario in their households. Then, content analysis, I have so far identified videos, posters, e-publications, and infographics that have been produced in line with the program. Participant observation would be attending and taking notes and photos and videos as road shows happen, because here they have various road shows in support of a program or a campaign, and it's normally launched in major community centers. Then, of course, there's research, because I need to string together publications and articles that pertains to the Zero Waste Master Plan. In a nutshell, that is my proposal to study towards zero waste, the development communication initiatives of Singapore on waste. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to your comments and suggestions.